Peace, Black family. So this video will be a two-portion video about two topics that I think that are very important at the moment. And the first one will be about the classification of Haitians being labeled as Latino. This is very, very significant and important to maintaining our cultural identity and our history as an African history, right? It is very dangerous to allow your ethnicity, your culture, your history to be colonized by another group of people. I don't care what the Europeans classify as a Latino. I don't care if they say, oh, you speak a French or Spanish language, so you Latino. I don't care what they label us. We have the power of definition, and I reject that definition. That is a poisonous definition. Why is it a poisonous definition? Let's look to FBA culture and history right now. Right now, they are in a locked battle with Latinos, specifically Puerto Ricans, about who created hip-hop. Who created hip-hop? Are there other elements to hip-hop? Does hip-hop, blah, blah, blah? Yes. But for foundational Black Americans to be locked in with a fight about the idea of we created hip-hop, that is cultural colonization. And as we know, the Haitian Revolution is a very powerful history. And if we are not careful with that history, with that culture, you're going to hear that all the things Haitian come from being Latin. All the things Haitian come from being Spanish. I'm telling you, if you look at a picture of Charlemagne, who was the leader of the Cocottes during the American occupation, they have distinguishedly start making this man look white. This man was an African, a black man, but they have start making this man look white. They have start making this man look Latino. This is a specific attack on Haitian African history. I'm trying to tell you, y'all gonna look up and y'all gonna see Haitian history in there with Spanish history. They gonna start saying Simon Bolivar was, I'm telling you, man, that is a problem. And then we got so many self-hating Negroes, self-hating, miseducated Negroes identifying with that title, that we Latino, because we speak a form of French. I don't care what the white man, I'm not taking no white man label and putting that on top of me. Autonomy starts with the way you think. Autonomy starts with the way you think. And allowing someone to label you and say, oh, well, if you're from this part of America, you're a Latino. No, I'm not going to identify with the colonizer's identity. No, I'm an African. I'm an African who has an Haitian culture. No, not going to do it at all. So to all my Haitians, cool down. Cool down with this we Latino stuff, okay? Stop it. Because compa, y'all gonna find out compa, they're gonna start saying compa is Latin music. They're gonna start saying the rice and beans is from Latin America. Calm down, man. Stop being so self-hating. All right? Now the second portion of this video is giving Dr. Frances Cress Welsing her flowers, right? Because Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, for those who do not know, wrote a book called The ISIS Papers. And in the ISIS Papers, she wrote about color confrontation. And her theory was that white people fear, they have a subconscious or conscious fear of white genetic annihilation. Meaning that white people fear that colored people or black people can erase them genetically from this planet. Okay? She goes on to make her theory revolve around the gun, how the European created the gun, as a result or something to combat the male genitalia that was extincting white people, white males, right? And white women. So she goes on to talk about this theory, and for years, white psychiatrists, white therapists, they all laughed and shunned and said that is crazy. White people don't fear being genetically annihilated, even though we're only 10% of the world's population. That's not one of our fears. And she made a lot of valid points in saying that, well, then why practice racism then? If you weren't scared of genetic annihilation, meaning that black men having sex with white women can erase y'all off the planet genetically, right? If that is not your fear, then why create a system that revolves around mistreating and disadvantaging people around the world, specifically African people? Then why do that then? Why does racism exist? And that was her main point. It exists for white people to stay in power. It exists for them to control the numbers of non-white people, right? Through education, through entertainment, through economics, through education, through entertainment, through labor, law, politics, religion, gender, sex, interracial dating, war, and healthcare, right? So the idea is that you create this system that controls all these 9 areas of human activity, and therefore you will be able to control your numbers. Now, of course, you're always going to have white sacrifices, white people who, going to be like this homeless white man right here. They're called white sacrifices. But she talks about the overall majority of population of white people. We do know that, there go the white man right there. We do know that white people are going into what is called a birth dearth. Like their birth numbers are not at a peak. Right? So we know that they are becoming a minority. And what she said in the book in 1976, she says, as white people become more of a minority around the world, you will see their actions become more extreme. You will see more mass shootings. You will see more white people attacking black people. You will see more white people doing all these heinous and crazy things. And if you look around right now, we have what is called white replacement theory. Okay, look this up if you don't know what this is. And this is Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing basically breaking this down years before this became a reality. So all over Fox News, you hear white replacement theory. White people are being replaced by immigrants and black people and Africans, and they all over the place. They in Paris, they in France, and you have these mass shootings taking place in Buffalo, New York, in Mexico. Dylan Roof, one of the things that Dylan Roof said is that, hey, we've been replaced by Negroes, and all these mass shootings, every one of their manifestos. And I don't think black people be reading this stuff. We really don't be reading this stuff. But every one of their manifestos had the word white replacement theory or great replacement theory, or the idea that white people are being replaced by immigrants, Muslims, and blacks. This is why you can have 10,000 Haitians at the Mexican border and they get something back. Don't think just because Joe Biden ain't talking about white replacement theory that he not practicing. Why do you think Trump, his slogan was so popularized amongst white people? Build that wall, because it wants to keep the miscegenation, the interracial dating, which I don't approve of, but wants to keep that blackness, that brownness out of the United States, because every time black and white mix, that child is no longer white. It's not black either, but it's no longer white. That child is now something different. And so that is what white people call genetic annihilation. What Dr. Francis Cress Welsing talked about years before it was popular to say this. This is why you get white men walking with these tiki torches talking about, they will not replace us. The Jews will not replace us. They will not replace us. Who do you think they're talking about? Why do you think white people, every time the numbers go down in the United States, they import more white people? In the 1800s, when they had black people come out of slavery and they could have gave them the jobs, no, they imported the Irish. They imported the Italians. And they said, bring me your sick, bring me your hungry, bring me your this. And black people were like, well, hold on. We here. Why are you bringing more white people? That was done to whiten up the population, to keep those numbers going. Every country you look at, Brazil, they did the same thing. It's called the whitening process. Cuba, same thing. It's called the whitening process. Look it up. Right now, why do you think the border just opened its doors to Afghan people? Because whether you know it or not, those people are Anglo-Saxons. People like Kim Kardashian. She is Anglo-Saxon. She is a white woman. Even if she comes from wherever she comes from. I can't even think of the name right now. But she is a white woman. This is why you can turn around 10,000 Haitians at the Mexican border, but then open the doors for these people in Ukraine and Russia. Just come on over. We don't care. You don't care if you got monkeypox, smallpox. We don't care what's going on. Come on over. We got to keep these white numbers going. White genetic survival. Replacement theory. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing told us this so many years ago. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing dropped these jewels years ago. Now, the point of me saying this, if you know that white people have a conscious or subconscious fear of being annihilated, of being a super minority in this world, then we as African people should be orchestrating ourselves to say, man, if these people feeling like they about to be 2% of the world population, they gonna get more extreme with their behavior. We should already be on the offense and the defense to protect ourselves and also throw counterattacks when they try to do things like this. Like, this is important to understand. Just waiting around for stuff to happen to us is stupid. It's very, very stupid. Because that's what we've been doing. We've just been waiting for things to happen. You know what I'm saying? So now that we know that what Dr. Francis Cress Welsing said was 100% on point about this replacement theory and that white people become more extreme in their behavior, why do you think these people make these bombs? Why do you think they make these guns that could gun you down and all these helicopters and jets? National security starts with whiteness. Point blank, period. National security starts with whiteness. So I need my black folk in the military, get on point. Because they will send you to kill your own people. They will send you to go kill other black people. Black people in law enforcement, get on point. Understand what's going on, because they will send you to stop black people and kill black people at a drop of a dime. Understand, the law is not the problem. The enforcement and the interpretation of the law is the problem. Because white people can write the laws, but they have the power to enforce it and not enforce it. And if they say, hey, stop abortions. Too many white babies are being killed. We're not producing enough white babies. Stop it. They stop it overnight. We see that. Law doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean nothing. So what I'm saying is, man, giving Dr. Francis Cress Welsing her roses. You know, even though she's an ancestor now. If you haven't read that book, the ISIS Papers, the Confrontation of Color, the Confrontation of Color. Read that book. It's a real good book. It is the basis of the movie Baby Boy. John Singleton made that book. John Singleton read that book and then made the movie Baby Boy about that book. And he used the perspective of how racism, white supremacy was designed to make black men, specifically in America, but around the world, think of themselves as babies, not yet fully developed human beings, that we think of ourselves as children, that we can't do things on our own, that, we have to have, people around us or ushering us. We got to have white mommy and daddy. We can't do nothing on our own. We can't say, nope, this is for black people and we're going to build this up for black people. And that is, the baby boy, one of the baby boy syndromes. So appreciate you for watching this video. Until next time, think black, stay black, love black, support black, and that's real African black power.